You all have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, wherever you live. Please be safe, and Chibi out. So Gintama is finally here. The first episode of Season 3 of Gintama has finally arrived thanks to Crunchyroll's fast translations. So, this episode, I'm so happy to just see Gintama with a new episode. Like, these past couple days, I've lacked Gintama, lacked new material of Gintama besides the manga, has just affected me greatly because I really enjoyed binge watching Gintama episode after episode after episode, and just to get to this point to where I could review Season 3 of Gintama, and it was definitely worth the ride. It was. And to see new content and great animation, the same old characters that we all know and love, it's to die for. And what better way to start off Gintama than to start off with more fourth wall breaking and seeing Gintoki put his hair nice and straight and apologize to everybody on TV. Like, I'm so sorry, we have another episode, the anime's back. That right there, fucking priceless. Just same old Gintama. Because I expected something like that. I really expected something like that because I remember when Season 2 started, after episode 201, there was an entire segment to where, Gin, he was talking about how the anime finally came back. I was waiting for an anime original scene kind of like this at the beginning of Season 3, and to see how Gintoki did not disappoint me with his little speech and all that, I was just laughing. I was laughing so damn hard. And you gotta like the little bit of references and how the Sunrise Studios was actually able to reveal the profits they made, which just goes to show you how much fun they probably really had making this series. So to point it out, we come to find out that Gintama, the second movie, the final chapter, sold 1.7 billion yen. That's how much money the second movie of Gintama made, and that's pretty fucking crazy, actually, that amount of money from one movie. I don't know how much money an average movie in Japan makes, but 1.7 billion yen is pretty big. That's a large price tag. And so I'm happy that Gintama sold that well, the movie sold that well, and you got to see how Gintoki, he was discussing oh my god, thank you so much for the viewers to watch this and come out and, watch this show, watch the movie and stuff like that. You just see how Gin was just, apologizing and stuff like that. And in that segment, you can really pull out of that scene that the company Sunrise, and probably the mangaka itself of Gintama, is just so happy that so many people really loved Gintama so much that they were willing to support it and go watch the movie and give 1.7 billion fucking yen. So to see that, I'm just happy. I'm glad the series got the respect it deserved, and just getting to see how Sunrise Studio was able to say something like that in this first episode, it brings some joy to my heart. It really does. And it really makes me just want to import the Japanese manga volumes, just seeing how the company just goes out of the way to say something like that, because not many anime studios do that. I mean, like I've said in my previous review of Gintama, I guess only Gintama is the only anime series that could get away with such shameless self-promotion, and I love it how Gintama can get away with stuff like this, especially with how it did at the first beginning segment of the episode, and that's why I think I fell in love with Gintama so much, because of how the anime, or Gintama in general, shits on itself, shits on other things, shits on its own company, and just shits on everything around it, and it's a clusterfuck of shit that is amazing. I don't know if that came out properly, but that's the point I get from Gintama. So let's get into the episode. Right off the bat, right at the beginning of the episode, we have a Psycho-Pass reference. I mean, Gintoki, he gets out of his straight hair mode after he's done crying and saying thank you. He goes back to his dead fish type eyes. He's looking at the entire audience. He gets back to his regular voice acting, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, thank you and all that, just pretty much he acts like his same old self, and all of a sudden Shinpachi just throws a fucking folding chair at his face, and he's like, Psycho-Pass, and he gets fucking knocked out. That right there, funny. Just so freaking funny. Shinpachi just knocks Gintoki out with a folding chair, man. Yo, dude, Gintoki got fucking wrecked. He got wrecked with a folding chair. And then, the Psycho-Pass reference. I didn't expect that. I really did not expect to see a Psycho-Pass reference at the beginning of Season 3 of Gintama. So, clearly that must be an anime original scene. I'm willing to bet that is. But anyways, this first episode, if I had to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the episode from start to finish, and from what we can see is we're already getting into a new arc of Gintama. Now, I don't know necessarily if this is filler or actually following the manga, because you never really know when it comes to Gintama. I mean, I never know if it's a filler or if it's, actually following the manga, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if it's filler or not. Gintama's filler is freaking badass. It's so badass. I love the filler of Gintama. So hey, make filler arcs of Gintama. I'll gladly take it. I really would, because Gintama is the only anime I think personally I could sit down and watch filler constantly for an entire year and probably not get bored with it, because of how the animators do the filler. Because with an anime series like Gintama, they can do practically anything they want. They could. And so I feel like that's why I love Gintama's filler so much. So I don't know if this is a filler arc or not, because the vibes I was getting from this episode, it felt like it was referencing the movie. Now, I watched the movie, the final movie of Gintama, the final chapter movie. I actually watched it about 2 days ago. I have yet to do a review or discuss it, but the final movie was a time travel exquisite type movie. Like, it was focusing on time travel, trying to save the world and stuff like that from a deadly virus or nano machine viruses. And you had it to where in this episode, it was kind of focusing on time travel. So either A, this is a filler arc kind of referencing the ending of the final chapter, like how the final chapter is done, or I feel like the mangaka that was writing Gintama at the time probably made this arc specifically for the movie, because I know mangaka do that. Like, sometimes they write chapters that actually go along with a movie, and maybe the mangaka of Gintama decided to write this arc because he got the idea from the movie, the final chapter, and decided to do a time travel type arc. I'm assuming one of those are going on, but regardless of that, very good start to a very good Season 3 of Gintama, because it's time travel, and what do we get in this entire episode is just hilarious, seeing how our famous characters Gintoki, Kagura, Shinpachi, Hasegawa, and Gengai are all in this episode. Like, they're the main focus of this episode. Like, all the other characters kind of get shafted in this episode. The main center focus of this episode is, like I said, Gintoki, Kagura, Shinpachi, Hasegawa, and Gengai. And Gengai and Hasegawa really don't get to speak at all, but the point of the episode was trying to stop it to where these two characters do not die. Like, it was just funny how the poor guy, Gengai, he's just sitting there doing just put his finger up his nose like this, and all of a sudden you see how he dies when they try to switch the time, like the little time cube thing. They move it a little bit, and all of a sudden Gengai's dead, and he's picking his nose in his funeral picture. I'm like, wow. It's just like, okay. And so as it continues on and you see how he's dead, they kind of go back and they try to save him. And in the act of trying to figure out how he died, he walks out his door, and at first glance it looks like he fixed the time machine device. And all of a sudden he's like, I got it! And you see this giant ass green yellow snot booger that's like, yo, that's just like, ew, it's a green yellow snot booger, and you just see Gengai holding it up in his hand like, yeah, I got my golden nugget prize. Oh god, only just like, I'm glad I don't have a weak stomach. I'm really glad I do not have a weak stomach, because Gintama's humor, it really centers on some disgusting humor, like with vomiting and boogers and shit. I mean, Gintama's had some pretty, I guess, raunchy humor. Not, ecchi humor, just, raunchy humor, because it's just humor you don't expect from an anime in general, and to see how Gintama does it, it throws you off guard, and I'm glad it still does. I'm really glad. It throws you off guard, especially with the giant booger thing that Gengai was holding, and all of a sudden Shinpachi grabs it, slings it into the truck goes in and smashes Hasegawa on his cardboard box. Model never gets a break. He never gets a break at all. He's always getting fucked. Life fucks him so hard like Yamcha. Like, the only thing that messes with Yamcha and fucks Yamcha up is life. And that's kind of what happens to Hasegawa. Life fucks him over so bad. It's so bad. And to see how he died a natural death in the desert in this episode, I was just like, how are you gonna fix this? Like, how in the hell are you gonna fix this? Odd Jobs, how are you gonna fix this? So, yeah, they made a huge mess because Gintoki decided to break this universal time travel clock that controls all the time in the universe, and they gotta figure out how to fix it without the help of other people. I mean, they're trying to give it to Gengai, but if they save Gengai, Hasegawa dies. If they save Hasegawa, Gengai dies, or maybe someone else might die. I'm assuming next episode there's probably gonna be more characters added into the mix that might die. It'd be interesting to see what would happen if Katsura was in this. Like, I wonder if Katsuru's also gonna be in it, you know, with Elizabeth and stuff, but we'll have to see. Overall, the episode of Gintama, what can I say? I was laughing. Oh yeah, one thing I want to point out. At the end of the episode, there was a Raditz and a Goku scene, and it was very ironic if you look at the scene and take an actual good glance at the scene. Hasegawa was portraying himself as Goku in that scene, holding Gengai getting shot, and Gengai is to represent Raditz from Dragon Ball Z. And what is Goku? Like, let's really consider Goku real quick, okay? Goku as a character, we know he's the main character of Dragon Ball. He's strong, he's a badass, I mean, he has epic fights and stuff like that, but what does Goku really do? What type of job does Goku have? You get where I'm going with this? Moro is Goku in that scene. So, once again, Gintama taking shots at Dragon Ball Z. Just taking shots, saying that Goku is a bum. That right there, just, I couldn't help but notice that when I was watching this episode. Just seeing how this episode was referencing Goku as a lazy-ass bum, and Hasegawa was being used as something like that. And then Gengai being rad, it's just like, really? Really? Even the Piccolo special beam attack. Okay, that's it. I'm done. So, hello everybody, it's Chibi, and today I'm here to bring you an anime review on Gintama Season 3.